is humankind evolving towards a teleological goal? I don't think there is a final goal, an end to history, but speaking relative to the history of the past 4,000 or 5,000 years, I think the goal is to invert the relationship of body and soul so that the body becomes an image in the imagination and the soul becomes an exteriorized, solid state piece of circuitry which maintains everything else in stasis. I'm not sure if people realize what I picture in my mind when I say this, but I think that the destiny of man and what man will make be his destiny just because of how we are is a release into the imagination. And this is what all of our after-death scenarios say, whether they are true or not. And they may be true. And this is what poetry aspires to, art aspires to. It's the release into the imagination. We are creatures of the dream. And once this is articulated with sufficient clarity, and it's happening now, I think the work we do with these drugs, that we are the earliest pioneers in what over the next 100 years will lead to an understanding of consciousness almost as a thing apart from the monkey body and brain. We are consciousness. We may not always be monkeys. We fear the dehumanizing effect of so many computers and emotions, euphoric emotions not related to sex and all these things. We fear them. We say that they're moving further and further from nature, that we are moving further and further from nature, deeper and deeper into our own psyche. But this is a dualism. Our psyche is nature, and we cannot move away from nature by exploring these places. So I believe that a technological recreation of the after-death state is what history pushes towards. And that means a kind of eternal existence where there is an ocean of mind into which one can dissolve and reform from. But there is also the self related to the body image, but in the imagination, so that we each would become, in a sense, everyone. I would live at Versailles, and you might live at the Taj Mahal, and someone else might live at Buckingham Palace. But what you would see if there were an exterior observer, what you would see is only that man has become a coral reef of circuitry in space and on the planetary surface. But this is a very extreme view of the history of man, because it's essentially Gnostic. It says we are not now what we yearn to be, and are destined to be, and are destined to be. I don't see history as a process of accepting and coming to terms with monkeyhood. I see that it will inevitably seek to transform and transcend monkeyhood, and this will be very frightening. I mean, as frightening, imagine if even a 15th century person were to be in this room with us, and the value systems, the clash of assumptions about what is important and unimportant. And this will be a much more intense change and whether it's good or bad rests on a question that I have no answer for. And the question is man good? Are humans good? And this, I maintain, is the central thing to dig at. We cannot know. There's evidence, pro and con. I have faith that man is good, so I don't fear this future. But if someone had doubt, even a small doubt about that, then they would be repelled by this. And I take all these movements which want zero-sum growth and reject technology, reject space colonization, reject drug experimentations, artificial. These people would be very alarmed by this kind of point of view. But they do not seem to realize that the momentum towards this kind of human culture and that sort of thing, that there can be no turning back. We are either going to change into cybernetic, hyper-dimensional, hallucinogenic angels, or we're going to destroy ourselves. The opportunity for us to be happy hunter-gatherers integrated into the balance of nature. That fell away 15,000 years ago and cannot be recaptured. I might just end by recalling a statement I think Gerard O'Neill made it, an answer to this very objection. He said, "The earth is the cradle of mankind." There is no question about that. But you do not remain in the cradle forever. And this is a birth crisis that we're going through. For the entirety of human history has been the story of the monkey becoming the flying saucer. It is taking just that long in geological time. But we, for some strange reason, we happen to be living through the final moments of that process right now. And it is a turbulent, chaotic, multi-dimensional metamorphosis. And there's never been anything like it on this planet before. It's absolutely astonishing. Information which was locked for kilocosms of time into the DNA of plants and animals has, through the hand and articulate voice of man, been able to bootstrap itself out of the DNA and into these culturally validated, rapidly operating electromagnetic codes and languages. And this is allowing its development, its evolution to proceed at a rate so fast that the transformations are taking place essentially in our lifetime. And psilocybin is central to this because psilocybin casts a spotlight into the darkness into which we are moving and shows that this is what lies there. It is the human soul, essentially the oversoul of humankind, calling history toward itself across the dimensions. And it's taking only a moment, but on the other hand, it's taking 20,000 years, and it's the great, great adventure of becoming. And we're very, very privileged to be in this final taking out of the last seconds of the third act.